Hi, and welcome to the episode 4 of the Empowered Wellness Talks. I am your host, Stephanie Collazo, a mom and co-founder of Clean Food Mama, an online resource helping you get more plans on the family table. And we started these Empowered Wellness Talks earlier this year to help connect women to tools and resources to help empower them in their overall wellness. I'm excited to introduce you to my next guest, Selena Maestas, with Selena Maestas Coaching. I've been fortunate enough to be introduced to Selena through a mom-owned business group about 5 years ago. I'm going to read a little bit about Selena's bio. Selena is a life and mindset coach for overwhelmed and burnt out female entrepreneurs. She is a mindset expert with a background in psychology and biology. She is also a single mom to 2 boys. She believes there's a strong societal pressure for women to be all for everyone else. With grace and smile, because of this, women live out obligation, expectation, and guilt. This can compound pressure to achieve and be successful at all costs, which creates an level of overwhelm and exhaustion that lands many women in burnout. Selena can help prevent this very thing. She understands the stories women have been programmed to believe and the detrimental effects it has on living a full and healthy life. She sees the mental boulders you are throwing in your path, blocking your success in life and business. Selena believes wholeheartedly that women can live in flow and ease and have fun doing it. She believes that you can be successful without running yourself into the ground. She suffered burnout firsthand and knows how to walk through it and make small shifts in life to come back even stronger and fiercely empowered. Selena will help you break the boulders, free you from your overwhelm and burnout, and bring fun back into the life you are working so hard to create. Thank you, Selena, so much for joining us today. And also, this is a huge topic about the symptoms of burnout, and we're very excited to be able to hear about it and about you. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Yeah, so thank you so much for that introduction. So I've been a life and mindset coach for over 10 years at this point. And during that time, in fact, what started my coaching journey was my own burnout story. And that is why I've come full circle. I started coaching and then I kind of coached in other ways. And I came all the way back full circle this last year when after 2020, so many women in particular were suffering from burnout. They weren't sure what it was because it wasn't mainstream media information for a really long time. When I was in burnout, we didn't even know what to call it at first. So it was very important to me at that point to finally bring this information back because I have worked myself through burnout years ago. And in fact, just so you know, burnout isn't like for a couple days and then you're over it. It can take a long time depending on the severity of it. For myself, it took me 3 years, 3 years to get all the way through it. And 7 months of that I was basically homebound because I was so wiped out.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so this is like a real thing. People are like, oh, you're just a little burnt out. No, there's usually not a little. You either are or you're not. And one of the things that I want to say right up front, because I hear this all the time, is that when you're tired, yes, listen to your body, take a nap. But that nap is not the only thing that you need to do. When people tell me, oh, I'm just a little burnt out, I'm just going to take a nap, I'm just going to take a day off. Great, do that. But just know that's not that you might need more than that is what I'm getting at. You're probably going to need a little bit more than just one nap and one day off. You're going to need to listen to your body and you're going to need to really step back and look at what you're doing in your life that is creating this massive exhaustion, this massive overwhelm, and this inability to really get yourself up and going in a way that feels good. Like we can all push through, which is half the problem. That's how we get in this predicament in the first place. We know how to push through, especially women, especially moms, especially entrepreneurs. We know how to do this. We know how to push. But when you push, it pushes back. And when you're constantly pushing, you might be making some progress, but your body is taking toll. So the detriment is to yourself. And that's, you're going to end up with your nervous system being shot, which, let's be fair, we all have that because of the pandemic. Our nervous systems are so used to looking at all the negative things going on in the world that it doesn't know how to process what's going on. It's kind of stuck in this reactive mode versus going through like a reactive and then calm. We might not be at the calm yet. So there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of us in distress, and we just don't know how to fix it.
I can relate a lot to that. So yeah, definitely. It's a big, huge thing that's happened this last year. And it's so good that you've been through your own struggles so you can relate and help people through theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not fun, especially when we're so used to doing. Having someone tell me I had to slow down was like, what? What do you mean? Like, I don't do that. Do you not understand?
Exactly.
Like,
I haven't programmed my children to work that way either, so yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But one of the things that I'm noticing too, there's been a lot of research because of the pandemic on burnout in the workplace. And so as of July of 2021, 66% of female women in the workplace are experiencing burnout as compared to 52% of male workers. And I'm sure if you're watching this or listening to this, you can probably guess why. Most women, if they are mothers in particular, are doing the double shift. They're going to work, they're working all day, and they're coming home and they're working some more. Working just in their family life, not necessarily even on your business. Now, if you're an entrepreneur and you work from home, it's almost worse because you don't even know where the line is between work and home. It's like all rolled into one.
Yeah, the door closing doesn't automatically mean let mom do work. Yeah, we still have, yeah, absolutely. I understand completely.
Yes. And even working remote where we're all like, oh, great. I already worked from home, so it didn't change my life. But a lot of people that were working like in corporate now are at home, like, oh, this is going to be great. Well, now we don't even know when to close the doors. Like you're saying, we just think we're available, especially women believe like, I bet I have to be available all the time now.
Yeah.
And that obviously is not helpful either.
No, it's definitely, that balance doesn't necessarily all work inside when you're working from remotely or being that normal entrepreneur that did work from home from your business that was always there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And because of that, like 1 out of 4 women are leaving the workplace. Wow. That's where we're at. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. And it's probably a combination of I'm just so exhausted, I can't do it all. And also I need to be home for my kids, right? That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Luckily, at this point, I know around where I live, my kids are back in school. Yay, thank you. Thank you. And they're doing fine. Everyone's doing well. But it's been really tough on women. So it's really easy to fall into what's going on because we're all experiencing the same, not all the same pressures, but a lot of the same pressures with the constant worry of what's next, what's going to happen next, what's the next new mutated virus. Like we have a lot more to think about than we have in the past. And we focus so much more on these things than we have in the past. And so that not only causes physical burnout for us, it also causes mental and emotional burnout, which altogether is like the perfect storm. And
it's exhausting to you, your body, your mind. Absolutely.
Yes. And I think one of the things that I find very challenging with a lot of my clients, and myself included, back when I was in burnout, that was I got diagnosed in 2012. And yeah, it was about 3 full years before I was out of it, is that I did not know how to listen to my body. Or if I did, my body did tell me, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm tired, I should slow down. I'd be like, nope, got things to do. And I just keep going. Right. And we spend so much time in our mind. So my body didn't want to keep pushing, but my mind's like, well, if I don't, what does that mean about me? That means I'm weak, right? A lot of women think that slowing down is weakness, right? That means I'm weak. That means I'm not good enough. That means I can't keep up with other people. That means I'm not gonna get ahead. It means I'm a bad mom. Like that is what our mind and the world tells us, and that's programs us to think that way. And we stay up here. We spend too much time up here and we don't drop into our body. We don't even know what our body's trying to tell us.
Yeah.
Your body might be screaming at you to slow down, to take a break. Yeah. To stop doing the things you don't want to do, like to stop people pleasing. But we just don't hear it because of what our mind has been programmed to tell us. And that's where it becomes
really different.
Yeah, and it becomes really hard because so many of us believe what our mind's telling us. So here's something I want you all to take this and just remind yourself. Your mind is not always on your side. Your mind has its own agenda. And that agenda is to keep this thing called a body alive. That's what our mind's here to do. It's going to keep you safe, right? It's going to tell you that there's potentially a bear right outside your front door. And if you leave your house, you're going to get eaten. Like, it's telling you everything it can to keep you safe in your house, nice and cozy, right? Or in your, I used to call it the nest. Or also like in the cave. And all of those things is just
your comfort zone, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to get out. We want to be in our comfort zone. That's what our mind wants for our body to be safe. It's just to stay where it's comfortable. Don't stay where it's uncomfortable. It's always going to go towards pleasure and away from pain all the time. But the thing is, for our brain, that means, again, there's a bear waiting to eat you. We know logically there's no bear outside our door. We know logically we can get into a car and probably drive where we need to go and everything will be fine. But our brain is going to always find the negative things to scare us enough to keep us stuck. And let me tell you, the media is doing a great job of that right now. So there's a lot happening because we're not sure what to listen to, our mind or our body. And we don't even know how to touch base with our body because we haven't been doing a really good job of it for most of our lives. So it is really important that we learn how to drop.
And then the extra added stuff this last year that we.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So much added.
Well, and I think that is the. Yeah, and I think the other thing is new added things that we're not used to. So then we're having to teach our body or even understand what that is. And yeah, absolutely. And when it's coming at all angles for you, I can't. Yeah, I think that is it's. What kind of things did you notice to be able to listen to your body? Did you work with somebody? Did you find out, just start paying more attention? Is that how you kind of did it when you did it back in 2012?
Yeah, in 2012, I didn't do a really good job of it because that's why it took me so long. I didn't really know much about that. I wasn't really told a lot of that other than to slow down and just, for me, the easiest thing that I used as a indicator for my body was literally like my muscles, because I've been a personal trainer and a fitness instructor and a runner and an athlete like my whole life. And I can't do that anymore, which was really, really awful.
Yeah.
So I started to notice that when I had to like stop teaching all my classes, all of that. And so they told me, you can't even really go for walks because I would go for a walk and I'd have to sleep for like 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I started to test my body. So after resting for like a month, then I'm like, I'm going to just go on the treadmill and see what happens. And I would know right away, my body, my muscles would instantly, after like a couple minutes on the treadmill, start to feel very weak and also achy, like bone achy.
Oh, yeah.
So that was my little signal to be like, okay, fine. I guess I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
And that was the best way for me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
As I got older, I learned how to understand when my body is contracting and relaxing, like my throat will tighten or it will feel open and fine. And a lot of people feel it in their chest when it's like a yes or a no, when they ask myself, should I do X, Y, and Z? And your body's trying to tell you no, like, no, you're going to feel contracted or maybe even just conflicted. And that's usually if you feel conflicted, it's not the yes, it's the no.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. Or you could feel expansive. A lot of it is learning how to be still, sit in time where it's just you and your body. Belly breathing is like number one. If you can practice belly breathing, you start to understand the rhythm of your body.
That's good.
Right. And it also, belly breathing also, and that means not breathing like this, how we do when we're sitting at our desk all day, but from your belly. Like when you inhale, your belly moves forward. It doesn't like come in. When you exhale, it comes in.
Yeah.
Making sure that you're actually breathing in your belly and not just up top. That stimulates your vagus nerve, which runs pretty much through your body, and it helps your nervous system relax. Because our body, like we can tell ourselves, oh, I'm not really tired. I'm not really tired. Your body doesn't know what the heck that means. Your body only knows body language.
Right.
So you can't think yourself out of exhaustion. You can change the way you think, sure, and say, okay, it's possible I can still keep pushing, which I don't advise that. But it's really like your body doesn't get the thoughts. Your body gets body language. So when you are fully relaxed, when you're belly breathing, your body goes, oh, we're safe now. We're not up here. We're not in that like fight or flight. We're not reactive. Right. We're safe.
That makes sense. And I think it's so important for you and your back history of the personal trainer experience that was the thing that your body knew how to let you be alerted to it. And that's powerful, because I always talk in my own personal health journey of how I lost weight, how I did everything. It's taken me years and years to develop that whole understanding how food and how my body reacts to food. So in my situation, that's a major, huge indicator of stress, whatever is doing that. But it's amazing how we each have something that when we listen to it, to the body down the road, that we have something that really is actually a powerful part of our life. And we didn't realize that yours is fitness and mine was the food in the end. But absolutely but sitting with that moment is so huge with mothers, because I know even when we want the moment that sometimes we don't. And I have teenage boys now, and as they get older, and I get that, and I'm starting to ask for that and put that boundary, because I realize I can only be better for myself, which it makes myself better for them down the road. But I get it. I get the understanding that we just think we can do all, and then when we don't relax that mind is just going 10,000 miles a minute at the same time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. When I was really sick, my kids were only 4 and 5, I think.
Oh, wow. And that is a demanding time. Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty, we call it crazy mommy years. That's what we call it. I mean, I literally thought I was losing my mind. It was, I do not wish this upon anyone. That's why I'm like, please get ahead of it. Please get ahead of it. Because there's lots you can do prior to being fully in. But again, most of the time, by the time we think something's wrong, we're all the way in. Right.
Trying to be preventative versus reactive, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So doing things, ahead of time, obviously taking good care of yourself now before it gets to the point where you're like one day wake up and you're like, I can't even get out of bed.
Yeah.
That's what you want to prevent. So I do have for the top 4 symptoms that I have seen with my clients when they begin to get so exhausted that they're kind of teetering on that burnout. But I want to preface those 4 with this thing there's a book. Do I have it right here? Of course not. I never have it right when I need it. And I always go, where is the book? It's called, I'm terrible. I should have this ready. So the name, they're on the book. It's Amelia and Emily Nagoski are the authors. They're sisters. And they wrote this book called Burnout. Have you seen it?
I actually have it on audio, on Audible. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like Burnout, and then there's a subtitle, and I can't remember what the subtitle is, but it's a great book. And they talk about the human giver syndrome. And the human giver syndrome literally is, anyone who's a mother especially will like get this like right away. We do everything for everyone else. We do it with a smile. We do it looking pretty. And we never complain or actually express our emotions for fear we might make other people uncomfortable. That is a human giver. And when we do all of that, we don't do any of it for ourselves. It is basically the recipe for burnout. We're just giving all of our energy away.
Yeah. Good, bad, all of the above, right?
Yeah. Talk about an energy leak. That's like an energy leaking flood, like a flood of leaking energy. Yeah. So if you're like, oh, that sounds like me, it sounds like most of us, just so you know, you're not alone. So with that, knowing that, these are the things that I see the most of, most frequently, and more of the easier ones to actually see and go, oh, I should probably pay attention to this. The first one is mental and physical exhaustion. And you're just tired all the time. Like when I was going towards that, when I went to my doctor's like, oh, but you're just a mom of 2 small kids. I'm like, no, there is something else happening here. I know it. And I was tired all the time, like all the time. It was crazy. I'm an early riser. I'd sleep in like every day. So if you're tired all the time, and this is where the nap thing comes in. Like a nap doesn't even help. Like if you can take a power nap, like I'm a power napper, if you can take a power nap and you feel decent, sometimes I feel groggy, but mostly decent afterwards, you're probably not all the way in. But when you're all the way in to burnout, taking a nap just doesn't cut it. Yeah. So you think massive brain fog and massive, like if you feel just physically exhausted and mentally just full of the brain fog. And sometimes insomnia then comes with that as well. So that's the first one that's easy to kind of detect, because it's usually quite different than your usual "I'm tired."
Right.
Okay. The second one is erratic emotions. Now, this one, it's kind of funny for me, not for most people, but it wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny looking back. Erratic emotions, and I'm talking like crying at the drop of a hat, like crying for no apparent reason. And here is what I experienced. So when I was in my burnout and I was like told, you got to just stay home and rest, and my kids, I mean, like, how do I rest with small children? Like, what do you mean? So they had their own room. I slept in the living room. And when I would hear them wake up in the morning, when I'd hear their adorable little voices talking to each other in the morning, I would burst into tears just at the sound of their voice, because and I don't know why. I think now it was just a trigger going, oh my God, I have humans I'm supposed to take care of and I can't.
Right.
And I would cry the rest of the day. And they're like, of course they're like so confused. They don't know what's going on. And I couldn't really turn it off. It was, so we're talking erratic emotions, things that are very unusual for you to be upset about. Feeling very hopeless a lot of times as well goes along with the erratic emotions. So that's number 2.
Okay.
Number 3, body aches, and also frequent illness. So like I discussed a minute ago, I could tell my muscles would just ache even after a short walk. So body aches all over. There's no like specific, just if you feel achy, if you feel like flu-like, I guess would be a good way to describe it. But if you also notice that you're getting a cold repeatedly, or you have maybe allergies that come up more frequently because your immune system starts to get shut down and it's not working properly when you are starting to exhaust your body, exhaust your nervous system, right? So that's number 3. And also to note, if you do work out, and if you work out a lot, you probably already know the difference, but there is a difference between muscle soreness and body aches. Right? Muscle soreness is like, I worked out hard and my butt hurts now. Body aches, it feels almost like bone deep and flu-like. So
yeah, I like your flu-like example, because I think we know that helps get a little bit more of a visual to it.
Yeah. And then the last one that comes up a lot is forgetfulness and trouble concentrating. Now, if you have ADHD like I do, that might be fairly normal.
Yeah.
So just noticing if it's even getting worse. But if you don't normally that's not an issue for you. If you start to notice it happening more, because when we're overwhelmed, our brain is like spinning, and it is hard to like put all the pieces back together. And when we're overwhelmed, it's usually because we're doing too much. We have a lot on our plate. We think we need to do it all. We feel very obligated to do all these things. And that, again, starts to get you towards that burnout place. And remember, it's not fake. It's not just something that's in your head, because that's what I was told. It's not in your head. It is actually a physical, mental, and emotional thing. I mean, burnout really is the long-term stress in your body.
Yeah.
Right? It is, it's basically when you have long-term stress that isn't rectified at all. Like you just let it keep going. I think of CEOs when I say that, but a lot of the CEOs that are doing well actually take steps to not get burnt out.
That makes sense.
That's why they have teams, right? That's why they pay other people to do most of the work.
They learn how to delegate because,
Exactly. They learn how to keep their plate cleaner, less things to do. So we can also do that. And I think part of the issue is that we don't think we can. We think we have to do it all.
Yeah.
And that's really what I want to just like dismantle, that like we have to do it all BS. Yeah. It's literally killing us.
Well, and I think that's a big thing that you work with, especially female entrepreneurs, because especially when they are a solopreneur or they don't have the team, that can very easily happen. And so, and then you've got parenting over here and you've got the business over here, and you're trying to lead by example for your kids and all the above, right? And so I see that. I want to raise my hand a lot on this because I get that. And I get the example of maybe I've seen in other people that, again, we might not know that, but it's so absolutely important to listen to yourself. And I love that tip, because it's hard, and maybe the 2020 really helped some people be able to slow down, and maybe it didn't, and maybe it did, kind of assess that, which is awesome. I did for myself of the things that were important, and hopefully to go on, kind of do an audit of life a little bit. But it's definitely, and it's hard because we all have these little humans that we want to make sure that we're raising, but we also want to give them that example as they get older, because we don't want that for our kids too, and for raising daughters or however it is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
These are awesome things. And
it is. One more thing that I just want to mention is that even when you do the things I just mentioned, when you notice those things and you start to go, oh, I should slow down, remember that it is so easy for us to I feel better now, and then fall right back into the same pattern. Because that's why it took me so long to get all the way through it and back to a healthy version of myself. Yeah. Because the minute I'd feel better, I would just start doing all the things again.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. And I catch myself even over the last couple of years, I get to a place where I'm like, oh, I'm doing it again. Even last month, there was a few things I needed to accomplish in order to move forward in my business. And I just made sure that I did go to bed every night, by 10, I didn't stay up past 10 or anything like that, right. But I could tell, I was very aware of okay, I'm working a few extra hours every day. How is my body handling that? Right. So I didn't work out as hard at the gym. I shifted my energy to where I needed the brain power. So I wasn't going to go to the gym and just crush myself, which I like to do occasionally because it feels good. Yeah. I took my energy and I delegated it. So be careful, because it's really easy to go, I feel good, so now I'm going to go into the hustle and grind.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. It kind of reminds me of when the kids are coming out of a fever when they were younger. And I'm like, no. It doesn't mean you can down something down. Your body still needs time to heal. Yeah, absolutely. I think those are really good. I think in that one book you're talking about, they talk about going through all the stress cycles, and they talk about how the exercise, I haven't read, I've only in the very beginning of it, but how they talk about going through the stress cycles and exercise being one of them. But again, realizing if this is the pain from your burnout or if it's the pain that you're experiencing from that. So those are really, really, really important tips. And I think being able to relate as moms, being able that you went through that and having the kids be younger at that time. And it just, you're right. We tend to bounce back really quickly. I recently had just had a surgery, and it's I want to do the things, but when the doctor reminds you, it's I know long-term is if you just listen, I get that, but it's so hard because it's we want to do. And it doesn't always work out at the same exact time as when we're needed to slow down. So
I know. And it's so hard, right? We just we just have to learn how to be patient and listen. And I am the least patient person I know. So I get it.
Exactly. I don't think they blessed me with that patience. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So one other thing is so obviously the major thing is if when to work out with, if they are experiencing this, or maybe they don't know that these are their symptoms that, now you've explained some to them, but maybe they are questioning, hey, this is maybe what I've been going through. How do they work out with you to be able to kind of continue on helping them get through their burnout phases?
Yeah. So what I really want for women is when they are noticing these things is that knowing, one, that they don't have to live this way. Even if we get them through burnout, they don't have to go back. They can have a very successful business, be very aligned with what they want without grinding themselves into the ground yet again. Yeah. So my job is to help them have more fun, have more joy, have more ease, which I think we all what? We can have that? Yes, you can. Yeah. You can. So that is what I help them with. So there are a couple different ways. First of all, and I will give you the link, Stephanie, there is a link to my Could It Be Burnout checklist. So there's more symptoms on there that you can check the box and be oh, yep. And it says right on that worksheet or on that checklist, if you have so many of these, contact your doctor. But also there's a link at the bottom that talks about, it's a blog post I wrote that talks specifically about what exactly is burnout, so that you have a little bit more information. Awesome. So that's your free option. Then I have a group called a course. I have a course. Awesome. I can't even talk. Overwhelm Overhaul 6-week. Actually, it's going to be 8 weeks. We're changing it. Group coaching program. So in this group coaching program, I help you take your overwhelm, dismantle it, see what, basically we're looking at your life. How are you running your life now? How can we run it differently? And how can you change the way that you think about it? So we work on some mindset. We work on getting into your body. We talk about emotions and dig deep into those, because a lot of times, like I said earlier, we do things out of fear of what people are going to think about us, that we're weak and all of those things, right? So it's a very good in-depth course. And the very last module of the course is how to have fun. It's called the fun factor.
Awesome.
So women are terrible at celebrating themselves.
Yeah.
and doing like fun things on purpose. So it's a really fun course. So that is I keep calling it 6 weeks. It's basically 8 weeks, and then you can stay in it forever once you are a part of that. I am going to be relaunching that in January. We just finished a round, and I'm doing another round in probably mid to the end of January. So I can give you the link, and that you can you can get on the wait list right now for that. So that is one way. And then if you prefer like one-to-one coaching, if you have a lot that you just want it to be personal and you don't want to share it with other people, like in the course, and I do 6-month one-on-one coaching programs. That is 1 time a week for 24 weeks. And for 6 weeks, which is twice a week for 30 minutes. And people, I kind of get half and half. Some people really like the longer, some people like the shorter, quicker, because you have me twice a week, and so there's a little quicker, more accountability, first of all, and quicker transformation, because I'm like on your case, like all the time, cheering you on and making sure you're doing what we've decided is going to be best for you. So those are the options, and all of that's on my website under work with me. So I'll give you the link.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and put those links also in the show notes. And then you also have an Instagram page, and it's everything for Selena Maestas coaching on Instagram. And I have been amazed by your reels. Those have been awesome, informative, education, and some of them just help make me laugh, which and we need that during the day sometimes too. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
The laughing is because I'm relating so much to them is most likely probably what it is. Yeah, so those are awesome. And then we'll go ahead and link that, all of that into the show notes too, so people can connect with you. And that's awesome. And I know I took a class from you earlier this year about your busy persona. And just in the week that I took that class, it was, first of all, I am so in awe of your coaching, the way you can talk, the way you explain everything to everybody, but also the way that you can relate to people. And how it just kind of resonates with me so much when I'm talking or listening to you. Took that course and implemented things that I'm now implementing in my life every day. So it's I mean, just in that one course that we had for that 1 week, that was just, so I appreciate that. And I know that there's so many other amazing women that you've been able to help through your coaching through over the years, and just so much excited. And then also I wanted to say is that you have a planner. I know it's kind of a little bit off the offside, but I have last year's here, which has been awesome. But if you want to tell a little bit about your planner that's coming out this next year.
Yes, thank you so much for reminding me of that. Yeah, so it's called the 90-Day Success Plan, and it comes out quarterly. And I created it because my ADHD brain I'm very visual. So I need to have things written down. I have, of course, my computer calendar, but my paper calendar is the one, and my daily action plan in particular is my favorite page in the whole book. Yeah. It really helps keep me on task. And so it is a planner that gives you an entire goal setting section in the front. Awesome. It's yearly, quarterly, and then also weekly, monthly, and weekly. And then you have your daily action plan. And then at the very end of each quarter, there's a quarterly evaluation that goes in there. And then at the end of the monthly evaluation. And then at the very end of the 90-day planner, there's a quarterly evaluation, which is like so good to see exactly what you need to shift around to have success. And with the planner, so you get 1 quarter at a time. I actually don't have the bundle on my website right now, but I do a bundle where you can purchase for the whole year, and then we just ship them out to you every quarter, and you get a discount. But you also get a planner portal, which I'm actually in the middle of updating for the new year. So I go through and I do a video that shows you the best way to be efficient with the planner. There are some mindset hack videos, and also videos on how to use specific pages. And usually I throw in some bonus freebies in there as well. So you get all of that. That comes free with the planner. So it's a really good deal. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've noticed the one thing I'm talking about getting anywhere close to burnout is writing things down, getting them down, helping them get out of that brain a little bit. This has been so helpful to myself as an entrepreneur, but also as a mom, because if we get an idea, then not taking that headspace up sometimes, right? So that we can come back to it and visit it. So it's been very helpful for me. And I know it helps a lot of other entrepreneurs. So thank you so much, and excited to be able to share that. And I see you have it digitally and also physically too. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so you can just print it out yourself if you don't want the spiral bound version. Totally, a little cost effective. And actually, I have an Etsy store open too that has my single pages, because people are like, I don't want the whole planner. I just want this and this page. So now on Etsy, there's single pages, and right now they're still on sale until I think the end of this week. But anyway, regardless, you can purchase this once and then print it as many times as you want.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, that's awesome. And I love the design. And I love the little cards that you had too, that I got one time, that little affirmation card. So thank you. So very much appreciated having you on here. And thank you for sharing these symptoms, the tips and everything. And I hope to be able to have you back. And I just really, really appreciate you, and hope that you have a wonderful week and help and inspire everybody else through their burnout. And so thank you so much, Selena. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate you too.
Thank you.